Hello and welcome. In this video I want to show you how you set up a study. And as you have probably seen, I have recently developed a playlist that is called Data Analysis from Zero to Hero, and I made it for my students where they can actually learn how they operationalize a model and how they, if they receive data, how to process it. If you go to videos, you see that we have the video number 1, which is Introduction to a Research Model. And then we have the topic and research model, and we continue with data, how to open it, how to clean it, how to process it, and so on. What I noticed that is actually would be great to show how you set up the study and how you come to this data, because we talk about the research model, but I don't really show how to operationalize it and how to apply it. The reason is very simple. My students have to do it on their own, and I didn't want to give them an answer, but as they start tomorrow, so I can record this video, make it available tomorrow, and then they can already watch the video without having an impact on their preparation. The main idea or the task that I gave them is to investigate impact of emotions on behavioral motivation. And I asked them to investigate the impact of negative emotions, and in this event we talk about fear and anger. These are two emotions with which I work very often. That is why I decided to take them. There is also another reason why I usually take fear and anger. They are both negative emotions, both low pleasantness, high arousal emotions, and still they have very different effect on how we act. So if fear leads to disengaging, to freezing behavior, to avoidance behavior, then anger is actually trying to act whatever happens, or it doesn't matter what happens despite any obstacles, just to act, and usually make a lot of mistakes. Plenty of papers about it, but anyway, the students, they only start the research method class. That's why I decided to make it a kind of as simple as possible, but also as interesting as possible. And their goal was to develop a way, or develop a study where they can really test the impact of emotions, let's say fear and anger, on behavioral motivation. And the main idea is actually that they find out how to manipulate emotions, and that they find out how to measure behavioral motivation. And in the event I start with the behavioral motivation, we start with something very simple. This is the paper that you can find online by Carver and White, 1994, and it's about the behavioral inhibition and behavioral activation scale. So the main idea behind it that some, let's say, affective states, emotions, have impact on whether they activate us to do something like anger would do, or maybe pleasantness would do, and some are disengaging emotions, they're inhibitive emotions like fear or sadness. And I assume that my students will have found this paper, and at the end of the paper they can also find the questionnaire, the one that we are going to use for the manipulation. Here is the questionnaire. And let's see whether I'll manage to do it or not. We'll know it tomorrow, but for today I want to show you how you set up the study. So what you usually do, I work with Qualtrics, and let's assume we know already what we want to do, and you can watch in the first video the playlist how the research model should look like. We create a new project. It may take a while, it may have some mistakes because I'm doing it online with you, and I can also make mistakes. So survey, get started, and we start with the first survey, and I call it BPM for our class 2025, and let's call it emotions and BUS, behavioral inhibition scale, behavioral activation scale. It is a blank project, and we're going to start with it. So in Qualtrics you can create a free account, but you will be restricted in your functions. You won't be able to run JavaScript, which is not a problem in this specific event, but you might not be able to download your data if you collect your data. So we have Qualtrics. Qualtrics is very user-friendly, sometimes a kind of too much user-friendly, but it means that it is also easy to work with it. And we start with the first block, and the first block is usual information that we add for the participant. So the participants assumedly can be from Prolific or MTech, or maybe you send it to your friends and colleagues. We need to tell them what is going to happen there. That is why we delete this question, we add a new question, and we add a new text question. I prepared some text, but I need to adapt it. I took it from one of my students, and he took it from me, so it's kind of, I assume I can use this text, and we're going to adapt this text. So I'm going to delete his email, that you don't see the email. And I'm going to show you what you usually do with such a text. So you go here, I would prefer to paste it without formatting and then format it later. So, dear participants, yeah, I see already formatting in Qualtrics is a bit challenging. By participating, okay, we can go to rich content editor. This would be look a bit better. By participating in the following survey, you're supporting me in context of my bachelor thesis. It is really his bachelor thesis, or it used to be his bachelor thesis, and it's a good way to establish some empathy, because if you tell people that you are not a commercial marketer who is going to collect data for salary, but you show that you're a student and you really ask them to participate as a person, it will establish emotional connection and they will probably be more willing to respond to your questionnaire. So it is not the bachelor thesis, but let's assume it is, because the students in my class, they do it for the actually master's thesis. The survey will take about a maximum of 11:30 will take about, so I already see the mistakes, but we're going to correct them, about 11:30 minutes of your time. It is good if you pre-test your survey, that you know the exact time, test it on 3-4 people, and then you write the range around this time. Let's say the participation takes 7 minutes on average. Then you write it will take between 6 and 8 minutes. And it is always good if you have not even numbers, not 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, because people know if 15 minutes are written, it will be more. But if you write 11, 13 minutes, it is very precise and people believe that they will really spend 11 to 13 minutes. So it's better to be more precise here, and you will have this data if you pre-test your study. So you can leave it blank, pre-test the study, and then fill this data here again. This study is about innovation projects. So this study is about the way you feel at work. This is our topic that we're going to work on. I asked you to choose between two random selected and decisions. No, we don't. It is something he made a discrete choice experiment, so we don't need this phrase. But we can write, I would kindly ask you to respond to about, let's say, 20 short questions. Okay, please do not be confused when finding someone repeat and field. No, we don't need it. It is from the discrete choice experiment, so we don't need it. As the content is not ideal display on mobile phone, please check it, because sometimes if you have a complex questionnaire, it can look not so nice on a smartphone. That's why we ask participants to use PC or tablet computer. In our event, it is not the case. We have a very simple questionnaire that will be hopefully shown correctly, but still you can ask them not to do it. You don't need additional preparation. All data, of course, will, of course, it's a bit, of course, colloquial, but it's fine. We write it as a student, be treated anonymously, and will not be used to fulfill the requirements, and will be used to fulfill requirements of the study program and degree. So I would write it differently. You don't need to additional preparation. Point. Okay, next paragraph. All data is anonymized and will be used for academic purpose only. No information will be transferred to any third parties purposes. Then all data is being collected and stored in accordance with GDPR guidelines. Probably this is one guideline. Then you can ask for additional information, guidelines. My English is not so good. We would like to know your, let's say, real opinion, and not about how others believe things should be. Please always give the first answer that comes to your mind. There are no tricky or vague questions. So it's important to know, because some people expect there will be tricky questions, some people may be confused. If they're confused, most likely they didn't understand the question, so there should be no tricky questions, but hopefully everything is good. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. If you have any questions, if you want to have a considered summary of the survey findings, please contact me on, and here we add an email, and let's say something 111@nci.edu. The email doesn't exist, but anyway, you enter here the correct one. Thank you for your support. Sincerely. And then you add your name, whatever it is, or you write research team, or you're a young researcher. So if you want to evoke a bit more of empathy, you're a young researcher, Mr. or Miss, and so on. Or you write Sincere Dr. Eugene or Yevgen Bogodistov. So this is more or less done. The findings of this survey. So we have good suggestions. And of course, if you want, you can copy the text, give it to ChatGPT. ChatGPT will proofread it, make it nicer. If you forgot something, it will add it. And also, please check, ChatGPT is not always good. It's usually trained on papers that were published not always in the European Union. So the GDPR conformity may not be mentioned, something else may be wrong. So please check it. And actually, we're done with the first block on the text. You can also format nicely, add bold things if you want to people pay attention to something, especially if you use the control questions, attention check, please indicate it in the text and show please pay attention. You have to read through all the questions, there may be attention checks. Okay, so now we continue with the next one, and what you see in one block is what people see on one page. So the first page, the participants will be confronted with this information. Now we go to the next block, and the next block is the manipulation. How you do the manipulation. Manipulation means they will be manipulated. There are two good ways to manipulate emotions, where I'm going to show you both, and then we're going to pick one. And if you make manipulation, it means there are different manipulation groups, and we have three. At least I assume my students will come to the conclusion that we should have three. The one for anger, the one for fear, and the control group, because we need to know what is the difference of anger against people who are not in the anger state. And for this, we create three questions. Text question, I call it now simply anger. We'll later change them to something else. Add a new question, text question. This one we call fear. And we add the next question, again text, and we call this question control group. It is just for us. We'll change this text in a second. If you go now to the block, click on the block, not on the question, but on the block, you will see here the link question randomization. You click on it and you say, please present only one of the questions. And this is the manipulation. It means if we start now the test, people will see either the anger question or the fear or the control group question. By the way, I forgot to say here, actually it is sufficient if you leave it like this, because we can also add here option. Your participation is absolutely voluntary, and you can leave this survey whenever you want. It's also important to mention that people shouldn't feel obliged to fulfill it, otherwise can be negative feelings and so on. So usually we mention it here. So anger, fear, and the other thing. You can add here also the button I agree and I would like to proceed. I don't know why you should add. If people disagree, they just do not proceed. But if they agree, they proceed. But some students do, that they ask here the question I agree to proceed. In this event, you add a new question and you make the multiple choice. And here I agree and agree to the terms of the survey, and here we'll make yes, no, and we don't need the third option. And then you make it conditional. People select yes, they continue. If they select no, they are forwarded to the end of the survey, end of survey. I can show it later how you do it, but it is not part of this class and not part of this episode. That's why we can do it later. But usually go to the survey flow and you create a condition. And if the answer to this question is yes, they continue to block 1, 2, and 3. If no, they go to the end of survey. So you do it in the survey flow. Just for you to know, I don't know why you need it. That's why we delete this question. If they don't want to participate, they can simply close the window and quit. And now we go to the preview to see that our manipulation worked. So we go to preview. We have, hopefully, our text. Yeah, it looks a bit too big. And if you want to see how it looks like on the phone, it will look like this. So it's acceptable on the phone, not perfect. Now we click on continue and they will see no anger. So if I restart the survey, most likely, at least with a 66% of chance, they will see something different. And again, they saw anger. So let's restart. Once they will see again anger, this is a kind of, did they do something wrong, or it's just no, but coincidence. Now they come here. And what I have seen, if you have people usual there, equally distributed between the three groups, more or less. If I have 150 answers, then usually it's like 51, 53, and 47. So more or less around 50 will be in each group. So it looks already good. What we can do else, because this text looks a bit ugly as to me, that's why we go to look and feel. And in the look and feel, we can make our font a bit smaller. That's why we go to the layout. No, general. No, style is better. Question text, we'll make question text as 18. And answer text we'll make as 14. I think it should be sufficient. And apply. I don't know why it should be 24. Usually it's more than sufficient. Now we go back to the survey and make another preview just to see how it will look like. We could have done it also here online in the same tab, but we'll click on preview to be sure. And this is how our experiment looks like. So it's much easier to read, not too small, not too large. And we have again anger. Can we get something else? I know, wait. And again anger. Why does it happen? Should be no, fear. Let's come to the control group. Once control group should also control group. So they appear more or less random. If I restart, what else will happen? And again here. So as you see, they're randomly appearing. So now we come to the manipulation. What manipulation can we do? And there are two good ways to manipulate emotions. The first one is by using videos. You ask people to watch a video. In my study that I have somewhere here with Jürgen Morman, we wrote a study on the influence of emotions on IT-driven payment process design. It has been published in a very strong conference. It is an A-level publication, but it's a conference publication. So, and we didn't have time to publish it as a journal paper. But we pretested several videos, and you can find them. We pretested fear video, we pretested positive video, and we pretested the calmness video, the one for the control group. I explain in a second why you need the calmness. So you can find here the data, and the links to the videos are in the references of the paper. Why it is important? Because if you take a video and you assume it is a scary video, you don't know it is a scary video. That's why usually before you use a manipulation, you have to pretest it or find one that has been pretested. And for anger, I developed video for anger. I can show it to you in a second. I have it somewhere. I had it somewhere. But I didn't pretest it. That's why in your event, I would have to pretest it. So let's show you. I'm going to show you what is the anger video. Anger AVI. So let's see what it will work. maybe on second screen. No, here.
You're being a fucking asshole. This wasn't like this.
Hold on
it
a
wasn't
minute.
like this. I don't run a kitchen like
Hold on
this.
a minute. You're calling me a fucking arsehole?
I am.
Yeah, sorry for the
Stuck-up,
lecture.
precious little bitch. Let me tell you
Oh
something.
boy, here we go.
Listen to me.
I'm not gonna listen to you.
You're in denial.
I'm not in denial.
Yes, you
I am not in
are. Yes, you
denial.
are. You can't even accept it.
So more or less you got it. So I collected a kind of different cut scenes. I took Gordon Ramsay. He's very good in being angry, at least used to be. And that is why I made a kind of cut, and I had to protest it, but I didn't come to it. So it was one of the projects, but I didn't come to protesting this video. For the fear video, we found a nice video on YouTube that is called Lights Out, Who's There? A film challenge. It was the Scary Movie Festival, and they received one of the prizes, one of the awards. And it is only very short, it's only 2 minutes. And it's really scary. So if you want to watch it, you can watch this video, but it was really a kind of scary short video. And for the positive emotion, we took something else. The positive emotions video worked not so well. It kind of elicited too many positive emotions, too different positive emotions, because there can be different positive emotions. You can be happy because of admiration of somebody. You can be happy because of looking at the sunset, and looking at the sunset is coming down, kind of inhibiting. But being aspired by somebody, being admired, really make you act. And in this event, don't mix the positive emotions. Be aware with them. So already pre-tested, it scored high on the pleasant video, very positive and so on, but we had a problem exactly with inhibition activation and inhibition and activation scale. That's why try to be very precise what kind of positive emotion you take. They are all called happiness, but if you take Ekman, he will explain that there are different types of happiness. And for the calm video, we found a great video also on YouTube. It's called the 2-minute meditation. I'm just going to show you.
So long since you've been at peace.
Important is that it's a kind of calming video, calm down, don't think about anything, turn off your emotions, and almost the same length. So we try to find all the videos almost of the same length. So if you take the one that I cut with Gordon Ramsay, also try to be within like 2 minutes. And the videos you can upload to YouTube, you can find a video on YouTube, and this would be the best way. If there is a pre-tested video on YouTube, or you find one and pre-tested, and then you do the following: go to share, and you go to, actually we need to find embed. Do they have embed? Did I miss it? Embed, and you copy this link. Then we go to, this was control group, this was the calmness motion, because control group has to see something. Otherwise, the reviewers or your supervisor can say that angry group, they were angry just because they had to watch a video of 2 minutes, and that is, if they watched any video for 2 minutes, would be disturbed, and then they would be also, would have been angry. So to avoid it, you need to show to the control group also something. You need to, they have to be amused for the same amount of time with the same visual, with the sound. You go to Rich Content Editor, you go to Embedding Source Text, and here you add this nice video, and you can see how big it should be. So 560 times 315 seems to be plausible. It will depend on where you watch it, where you see it. So now we're going to do the same you do for fear. So we can do it also for fear. Lights out. Again, share. And again, we're going to embed and copy, and we embed it also here. Rich Content Editor, source, and here we add this nice thing. You can upload your own video to YouTube. Be aware, if I would download this video and upload as mine, it will be copyright issue because it is not my video. That's why you can do it as unlisted video only for your purposes, and only people with the link can see it. But the problem is that then people will see on the screen, instead of a nice picture, lights out winner and something, they will just see a black screen with a text. Click on it to see it, which may look not so nice. But it may be also plausible, because otherwise they see it as the winner of something, maybe primed, so it's better if you cut it, do it without this introduction scene and so on. And for anger, I don't have a video. Theoretically, I could have uploaded this video and use it. If it doesn't work with YouTube, you go to Vimeo. Vimeo is also a service where you can use the videos, upload, embed them, so it works very similar to YouTube, have a different algorithm. That's why you may have less issues with your videos. So now let's go to preview and see what happened. We are now in the preview mode, hopefully. and we'll see whether it looks good or looks ugly. It will look a bit ugly. Why ugly? Because here it is too small and here it is too big on a smartphone. So first of all, you see already the issue with manipulating emotions using the video. It's very hard to watch on. If you make it nice on a smartphone, it will look even uglier on the desktop. So on the desktop you can make it bigger, on the smartphone smaller, but how can you decide? It's a bit tricky. You can do it with Qualtrics, but I wouldn't do it. The second issue with videos, I'm going to turn it on, but imagine you sit in a tram or in a bus and you want to listen to it. Oh, by the way, we have the control group video. Luckily, scary video is scary.
So long.
The problem is that you need sound, then you need the headphones, and you need to be sure that people listen to it, that the sound is on. And it's so many things that it's good to use a video if people have the headphones. Let's say they sit in a lab and you can control that they're really watching video and hear the sound. Otherwise, watching this video without background sounds would make not so much sense. The same with a scary movie. It wouldn't make sense without the sound. So that is why we have the second option of manipulating emotion, the one we're going to use. And this one is called the autobiographical task. And the autobiographical task is done in the following way. I try to make it simple, then I ask ChatGPT to make from my text, from my English, a good English. And I'm going to show you. So the first one is fear. In the autobiographic task, people have to write something. That is why we cannot use the text question. We need to use the text entry question. Instead of text, we're going to add the one thing that I received from ChatGPT. So this is my text, but made a bit nicer, let's say a bit better grammar. First of all, I decided to start with a reminder. Because it is about emotions, people need to be reminded that they are not, let's say, obliged to write it, or they can, data is anonymous, they don't need to care about what is going to happen with them. And then we have, I'm just going to introduce the breaks where they need to be. Take a few minutes of your time and try to, where is the try to? Here. And we do something like this. So we have the question, which is about the following, and let's make here it nice in italics, and we have it one more time here in italics. And let's look at this question. A short reminder, this survey is anonymous and your responses cannot be linked to your personal data. We would like to invite you to temporarily set aside your current thoughts and emotions, regardless of what is happening in your life right now. Instead, please recall a moment when you experienced real fear. So you see it is in italics. Take a few minutes to bring that memory to mind in as much detail as possible. Then in about 10 sentences, describe the situation. What happened? Where did it take place? What were you doing? Why did it make you afraid? Try to help us understand what you felt in that moment, your thoughts, physical reactions, and any other details that might help us step into your shoes. The more video description, the more valuable contribution will be. As you see, the idea is actually that to put person, the state of mind, when the person reminds or recovers in the memory as fearful memory. Research has shown if people write about it, talk about it, remember, write details, they start feeling like this. And this very powerful way to manipulate emotions is as powerful as video, but you can do it on a text phone everywhere, so people just need to type, remember, and so on, and you're not tied to headphones, to different types of screen. They can do it on a smartphone, they can do it on a tablet computer, so this is a good way if you don't know what kind of device they're going to use. In a lab, I would use a video. In a field experiment, I would use this manipulation. And now we're going to do the following. First of all, we're going to delete these questions. Delete. We'll provide them a bit differently. Now we go to this question. We need to add a requirement. It should be filled out. Force a response, and we add a validation. And the minimum length will be, I don't know, do we have here minimum length character range custom? So minimum length, and I think it is now in symbols, but maybe in words. I don't remember what exactly it does. Let's assume it is 300 words. 300 words is pretty much, it's actually more than 10 sentences. 150 would be, I think this can be words, but we'll find it out. And now we're going to preview and see what is going to happen. Here, multiple lines, we have essay text box. This is what we need. It's a bit bigger. Don't change it, otherwise you can change it manually, but I think it is the pre-programmed one and it works always good. So let's go to the test. This is how looks the first question. Now we come to the next one, and as a short reminder, and here please write a text, and let's see what happens if we write these are about 5 sentences. Will it let us continue? Yeah, it worked. So it was necessary if I don't do anything. Let's see what happens if I don't add any text or a few text. It will say, oh, must be at least 150 characters. So it's about the characters. With the characters, it will be more. It will be about 500 characters. Remember that people need to don't get angry, so don't require too much text, because I had the issue when people just described the situation and they needed to write one more sentence, and they were more angry because of the need to write one more sentence than because of the situation. And if it is about a different emotion, might be not so good. Anyway, we know it's about the characters. In the event of characters, it will be probably about 500 at least characters. Actually, it will be more. I asked about 10 sentences, but allow them to write more, but be sure they don't write less, because you need that people really start thinking about it. And later this answer will help you understand. If you're not sure, you can always go through the answers and see whether people wrote something plausible, whether they wrote about emotions or they just wrote something. Then you can sort out those people who did not undergo the manipulation. And after we have it, now we need 2 more manipulation groups. How we do it? We copy this question. This will be now question 4, because the previous question 4 has been deleted, so we can call it question 4. And the difference is that instead of real fear, I add here real anger. And instead of afraid, I add here angry. And now we can be sure that manipulation is good, because the texts are equal. If there is a difference, this difference will be only because of these 2 words, or 1 word, anger and angry. Now we need to have something similar for the control group. And in this event, there's also a way how to deal with it. So we copy the question, we call it Q5. Actually, you can call them already correctly. This we can call this one CG, control group. This one we can call anger. And then will be shown in dataset as anger. Actually, what you will see in my tutorial, that actually they're called fear, anger, and control group. And as a control group, you usually ask people to do something boring, something where they just need to do something, but it should be very close to the original text, because it should be very close task. Otherwise, we don't know, was it the task description or really that they were in no emotion condition. That is why, again, I made a text based on the previous one. I'm just copying it. We go to control group, and I'm going to, let's copy paste it here, and let's format it here. So the same structure, the same text. Did I do something incorrect? Did I do it correct or wrong? Okay, I don't think it was like this. And then here, and then by try. Help us understand here. And this was bold. And this we set in italics, that we have the same idea. And typical activities, we have 2 times italics, the same as in the event of emotions manipulation. Let's look at it. Okay, looks not good. Why? Because we need more breaks. But should be the same font size, more or less the same structure, and the same amount of information. So as we see, they're almost identical, but here we talk about fear, here we talk about anger, and here we talk about typical morning routine. When you wake up, what you usually do, and so on. And we now go back to the block randomization, and we need to see one of the questions. So one of this you will see. Okay, so now we're done with the second block. Now we come to the third block. I assume this video will be shorter, but we have what we have. We go to the next block, and next block is actually the questionnaire. And the questionnaire we're going to take from the paper, which is the Carver and White 1994. You can call the block as you want, but I just leave it as it is. And we are going to add a question, and this will be, let me think, this will be a matrix table. Why matrix? Because we have several statements. We have the question, several statements, and we have the different scale points. I'm going to show you in a second. So we go to the paper and we see the items. We try to copy them and put them there, and also check about how it has been measured. and I found that they used the 4-point response scale with no neutral response. I avoid it. I usually recommend using the 7-point scale, not a 5, too few, not a 9, too many points, but 7 is always good. At least I go always for 7. How we do it? We click on the question. Number of statements will add skill points 4. And I think I already started writing them down, what was where. So I already copy pasted it. So they strongly disagree for 1, disagree for 2, agree 4, and strongly agree 3, and strongly agree 4. And this is what we need to copy now here. So this will be strongly disagree. Then we have here disagree. Oh no, it already started adding disagree. Then we have no other options, so the next one would be agree, and this one would be strongly agree. And the 5th, we don't need the 5th one, we just delete it. So we have the 4th scale, at least this is how they wanted to have it. Now we need to add the statements, and as you see, we have them in this form. And we need to do the following. So you just need to know what was where, but for now we're going to simplify it. We're going to copy them, create a new document. You can also ask ChatGPT to make it for you, just to make the statements. They can copy paste them, but we are not going to use ChatGPT for this one. We're going to do it on our own. So this is the dots. Oh, we need to delete it on. Oh, okay. So these are the types, subscale, what is where, but you will just remember it, I assume. At least you will know that the first 6 items belong to the first factor, and then the next to the next one. Then we have some items that are reverse coded. You just need to know they are reverse coded when you analyze data, and that's what we talk about in our playlist. And then we have these items. Now we need to delete all this stuff. Can we just delete it? So we're going to delete this stuff by nothing, and it worked. Okay, I just substituted this stuff with nothing, which worked well. Now I can theoretically copy all this stuff, and let's see whether it will work. Used to work. Go into Qualtrics. Now I want to add statements, edit multiple, and we can just simply enter them here. And the miracle occurs. Hopefully, did the miracle occur? No, it didn't. Again, edit multiple and apply, and we have the statements. What is important to know that there is a priming effect and ordering bias, because the first 6 questions relate to how activated people or inhibited are, and the next one about how activated. In order to avoid the impact, we click on this question. We go to first of all, we other requirements. It should be obligatory questions. We need them. Then we go to statement randomization, and we display answers in random order. We don't need to flip order of choices, just display answers in random order. If you have several questionnaires, you can also add this option, but we don't need this option. It means they will be shown in different order. Somebody will start with I feel pretty worried, somebody will start with when good things happen to me, it affects me strongly. And now we just need to add a question here. I think I already prepared it, but let's see if I forgot it. The following statement describes different something. Please indicate how much you agree to disagree to following the scale. So, in our work, by the way, with my students, we change the scale because I also teach that the scales can be adapted, and that's why with you in this video I'm using the original one. But in our question was how people feel at work. That's why everywhere we added here, how do you feel at work? I'm pretty worried and upset when I think or know somebody is angry at me at work or in my office or on my working place. And that is why we changed the scale for our class, but in this video I show the original scale. So now we're done with this block. We can make a preview and see whether it works, because the next one will be the last one block. I'm just going to show you a few things, and then we're going to end this video. So we have the introduction. Now we have the manipulation. We talk about fear. This is the fear manipulation. We try to skip it. It doesn't work. We can either write something here, but we can also, in the preview mode, ignore validation. Participants cannot, we can. And here are the answers. Oh, and you see what happened. It has now, it changed the scale. Agree, strongly agree, a great deal. So we don't need a great deal. I don't know where it came from. Anyway, if I want to click through, okay, it was ignore validation. Otherwise, it would have told me, no, please answer all the questions. So it added a new scale for some reasons. But I don't want to. I want to have 4. Why did it make it? Edit multiple, and I need to have 4. Let's try it one more time. Strongly disagree, disagree, agree, strongly agree, apply. Okay, now it worked. Hopefully it has been saved. I don't know why. Maybe because of the standard Likert scale, something like this. One more time, going on preview. I'm going to turn off, so we need validation. Let's see what happens here. If I add only 3 sentences, will it be enough? It is enough. And now if I want to skip it, it will tell me, no, don't skip it. You have to respond to all the questions. Now I ignore the validation, and actually then we can continue. And finally, we come to the last block. In my event with my students, we're going to add some demographical and control questions. Demographics, you need to know what is your sample. You need to know what is the age of your sample, what is the standard deviation age, what is the gender distribution, and so on. These are things that you need to describe how good your sample is. If you talk about industry, which industry people come from, and so on. What else you add to this block are the control questions. If you assume there can be alternative explanation of why people respond in a certain way, you can add these alternative questions. Let's assume that an alternative theory tells that if people like red color, they all go for behavioral activation. If they like green color, they go for inhibition. Let's assume it is the case. And then you add a question. Which of these 2 colors would you rather prefer? Red, green? It's a kind of, I know, a stupid question, but anyway, stupid example. But it can be, for instance, income, especially if you talk about job satisfaction. It can be conflicts with colleagues if you talk about job satisfaction. It can be quality of work, monotony of work. So different things you can ask here. What we need to do, we need to add a question, and usually they are not obligatory. In this event, they are free to answer. And the first one, multiple choice. And usually we ask, what gender do you associate yourself with? And if we go for the German-speaking region, this will be, we'll have edit multiple, and we have male, female, diverse, or non-binary diverse, because, and we don't need prefer not to say, because it is not an obligatory question. If they prefer not to say, they will just ignore this question. The next important question is actually how we know about their age. If you ask about age, people are not so happy. If you ask about the age group, I am between something, people respond, but the data is not so useful. That's why we ask the following question. What is your year of birth? People have no issue with responding the year of birth. And then you, when you calculate data, you just take 2025 minus the time here, the number that you have here. It will be single line. We don't need a requirement, but we need a validation. The validation will be custom. No, not custom. The validation will be content type, and it will be a number. And the minimum can be, so the minimum they should be, let's say, legal age. So 2025 minus 18 will bring us to 2007. Yeah. And no, maximum 2007, sorry. And the minimum will be, let's say, they cannot be 80 years old or 90 years old, so we can take something above 90, 35. It means if somebody makes a typo and no decimals, because usually people write 25.01.981, so it shouldn't work. People make such mistakes. We just need a year. If there will be outside range, somebody made a typo and wrote 1890, no, it should be 1990. Yeah. or it should be 2090. Cannot be, should be something between 1935 and 2007. And that was it. And then we add additional questions. What is your field of study? If you ask about what is your profile and you say I am a retired person, I'm a full-time working, part-time working student, don't forget that you should give them multiple choice answers, because you can be a student and part-time working, you can be a student and unemployed, you can be a student and retired. So they have to have the option to click several options. At the end, usually we add one more block. It is a good tradition, but also useful block. Add a new question. This will be a text entry, and you ask here, what do you think was the purpose of this study? And doesn't really matter what I write there. This is not an obligatory question. This is free, no requirement. But if somebody writes, I know that you manipulated emotions, it means people were aware of manipulated emotions, or I saw that somebody on the screen write to me, they had a different video, then you should sort out this answer, because the person has been primed, it was already aware of the manipulation, it might not work so well. So that's why it's good to have this question, just to know in how much people were aware. Remember, before we wrote about the purpose of this study, very abstract too, how people feel at work. And actually went to very precise. If somebody said, yeah, I see that you're measuring behavioral inhibition, behavioral activation scale, then it's better to delete this person, because the person is aware, means reflecting on it, and being biased, most likely. That's why if I participate in some studies from the marketing department of the University of Innsbruck, next building here, I discover the scale, I write it. You use the scale. They know that I knew it, and they can sort me out, they can leave me depending on how they believe I'm helping or not helping. And actually that was it. The next, what you do, you click on publish, and after you click on publish, the miracle will happen. You will receive publishing the respondents, publish and activate this. Let's click on publish, and then you receive the link, and I will paste this link in the description of the episode below, so you can try it out. If there are mistakes, let me know. Or you can copy link, and you can also distribute the link to certain people. You can say, I would like to distribute the link to the following list of emails, and then the good thing, you will even know from whom you received the email, because they will be identifying that the person from this email responded in this way, but then it will not be anonymized anymore. Yeah. And you can do many other things, having the anonymous link. This is the one that we copied, and so on. And if you use the link, so let's go to another browser and see what is going to happen. Let's go to Firefox and paste the link, and we'll see what is going to happen. So this is the link. Hopefully it will work. And this is our questionnaire. As you see, we can continue. This is how it looks like. We have manipulation. No, everything is good. Anger in this event, we try to click through, it doesn't work because it should be at least 500 characters, and we don't have the option to skip it. That's why we just copy paste something. And then, no, it was sufficient. Very good. And no, this is some commercial, not sufficient, so probably 500 characters are longer. Let's add some additional, I don't know what. Actually, just need to add something. Then we get to the next question. Here we can respond in a certain way. I'm just clicking something. As you see, this for scale forces you, I skip one question to see that it will complain. Clicking, and now we should complain because of this answer. Yes, it says not everything has been answered, but now clicking continue. Now we have the gender, which I don't have to click it, and there is no start, and it's not obligatory. Year of birth, let's try to write 2009, and we say should be less than or equal to 2007. Okay, let's try it 9020, and it will say no, should be greater than 1935. So let's try it 1935, and then it would work. Yeah. And what I think the purpose of the study, and here you see we would need a bit more space. That's why we're going to change it. We go back to the survey. We are going back to the last question. This one, and we do the text validation. Instead of multiple lines, we make the essay text box if they want to write a bit more. After you change it, it has been unpublished. You have to publish it again. Then you publish it again. The link will be the same. Expert review, it's never worked. It is a kind of worse statistics. Looks sometimes terrible by a very simple questionnaire, sometimes simple by a very terrible questionnaire, so don't trust it. Trust your gut. Link copied. I'm going to paste the link and you can try it out, just as an example. Wish you all the best. I hope it was helpful. In the next videos, I will put this video into the same playlist as the 0 level video. That is the how you develop it. And then next video, you can find out how the data look like and what you can do with this data. All the best and bye-bye.